Have you ever stopped to think about why certain moments in your life seem to repeat themselves? That strange feeling of déjà vu, or when you think about someone and seconds later that person messages you. Most people ignore this, call it a coincidence, and move on. But those who are spiritually awakened see something completely different. They see what's really happening behind the curtain we call time. Time is not a straight road where you simply walk from point A to point B. That's the biggest illusion we were taught since childhood. Past, present, and future existing in perfect sequence, one after the other, like train cars. But the truth is much deeper and more revolutionary than that. Spiritually awakened people perceive time as a cycle, an infinite spiral where everything is happening simultaneously. It's as if there are multiple layers of reality overlaid, and depending on your vibrational frequency, you can access information from different points of that cycle. That's why some have premonitory dreams. That's why others can feel when something bad is about to happen. They don't have superpowers. They simply learn to read the language of time differently. Think with me. Have you ever lived through a situation and were absolutely sure you had been through it before? I'm not talking about a vague memory, but that visceral feeling, that deep knowing that you had been there, in that exact moment, living that exact experience. This happens because your consciousness touched a point on the time spiral that it had touched before. You accessed information that your logical mind cannot process, but your soul recognizes perfectly. Synchronicities are another powerful example of this. When you are spiritually aligned, you start to notice patterns that repeat in your life. Numbers that constantly appear, situations that echo past experiences, people who show up at the exact moment you needed them. This is not luck. It's you learning to consciously navigate through the cycles of time, recognizing the signs that were always there, but you didn't have the eyes to see them. Most people live trapped in the illusion of linear time because it's comfortable. It's easier to believe that the past is behind, that the future hasn't arrived yet, and that you only need to worry about the now. But this limited view prevents you from accessing all the power that becomes available when you understand that everything is happening at the same time. Your actions today don't just create your future. They reverberate through the past and change how you interpret everything you've lived. When you awaken spiritually, you realize that the problem you faced 5 years ago wasn't just a random obstacle. It was necessary preparation for the challenge you are facing now. And the challenge now? It's already preparing you for something that is still going to happen. Everything is connected in a perfectly orchestrated cosmic dance. Awakened people can also feel when they are entering a new life cycle. They recognize the signs, the lessons that repeat, the patterns that ask to be broken. While most complain that everything always happens to me, those who are awake understand that these cycles repeat until the lesson is learned. And when you finally learn, the cycle closes and a new one begins, raising you to a completely different level of consciousness. Time is a learning tool, not a prison. When you stop seeing your life as a straight line and start seeing it as an evolutionary spiral, everything changes. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become the conscious navigator of your own journey. You see the patterns before they complete. You recognize opportunities disguised as challenges. You understand that nothing in your life happens by chance. This is the first vision that separates those who are spiritually awake from those who are still asleep. The ability to see beyond the illusion of linear time and recognize that you are living in a cyclical, vibrational universe perfectly synchronized with your spiritual evolution. Have you ever entered a place and immediately felt that something was heavy, or met someone who gave you chills without saying a single word? Maybe you talked to someone smiling, polite, saying all the right things, but something inside you was screaming, "Don't trust?" That's not paranoia. That's not vague intuition. It's you picking up on the invisible energy that emanates from every human being. Spiritually awakened people don't need words to understand who is in front of them. They see beyond the social mask, beyond the costume each person wears to survive in this world. They feel, perceive, and often literally see the energy that radiates from each person. And this ability completely changes the way you navigate relationships and day-to-day interactions. We all emit an energetic frequency. It's as if each person were a radio station broadcasting on a specific frequency. Most people can't consciously tune into that frequency, so they rely only on what the eyes see and the ears hear. But those who are awake have developed the ability to tune into that invisible channel, and what they discover there is the absolute truth about any person. Let me explain how this works in practice. You know that coworker who always complains about life, who's always talking about dramas and problems? When you're around them, even if the conversation is about neutral things, you leave feeling drained. It's like someone drained your battery. That happens because that person is operating at a low vibrational frequency, and when you enter their energy field, your own energy is pulled down to try to compensate for that imbalance. On the other hand, there are people who light up any room they walk into. You spend 5 minutes with them and leave feeling renewed, inspired, full of life. These people are vibrating at a high frequency, and their presence automatically elevates the energy of everyone around them. Awakened people identify this instantly and make conscious choices about whom to spend their time with. But it goes beyond that. Spiritually awake individuals can perceive the hidden intentions behind actions. You meet someone who offers to help, but you feel that there's something off about the offer. Your logical mind says, "They're being kind, accept it," but your whole body warns you, "Be careful." That's you reading that person's energy and realizing that their true intention isn't aligned with the words they're saying. Awakened people can also see auras, that colorful energy field that surrounds all living beings. Some literally see colors, others perceive them as sensations or impressions. It doesn't matter how the information comes to you. What matters is that it reveals the emotional, mental, and spiritual state of any person. A bright, expansive aura shows someone in balance. A dark, contracted aura reveals pain, anger, or fear. And there's an even deeper level of this perception, seeing the soul's essence behind the human personality. Most people you meet are wearing a mask. They've created a persona to protect themselves, to be accepted, to survive. But the true soul is underneath, hidden, often even from themselves. When you're awake, you can see through that mask. You see the unrealized potential, the unhealed wounds, the hidden gifts. You see who the person really is, not who they pretend to be. This radically changes your relationships. You stop judging by appearances. That homeless person on the street may have a brighter spiritual light than the successful businessman. That quiet, reserved person may be carrying deep ancestral wisdom. And that popular, admired person may be completely empty inside, merely reflecting what others want to see. When you develop this vision, you also learn to protect your own energy. You spot energy vampires before they drain you. You recognize toxic environments before becoming emotionally involved. You consciously choose with whom to exchange energy, because you understand that every interaction is a real vibrational exchange. The invisible energy between people is not a metaphor. It's not symbolism. It's a tangible reality that awakened people navigate every day, and once you develop this perception, there's no going back. You see the truth everywhere, and that truth frees you from the illusions that keep most people trapped in destructive relationships, toxic environments, and interactions that steal their vitality. Now let's talk about something that will bother a lot of people, but needs to be said. The system we live in was carefully designed to keep you asleep. I'm not talking about a conspiracy theory. I'm talking about a social, economic, and cultural structure that profits from your unconsciousness and does everything it can to make sure you never truly wake up. Spiritually awakened people see this with crystal clarity. They see the theater, recognize the actors, identify the script, and more importantly, they notice when they're being manipulated to stay distracted from what really matters. Think about your daily routine. You wake up, grab your phone, scroll through social media for half an hour before even getting out of bed. You go to work, spend 8 or more hours trading your time and energy for money. You come home tired, turn on the TV, watch shows or series that add nothing, sleep, and repeat. Weekend, shopping, bars, parties, more consumption. Monday, the cycle starts again. Most people live like this their entire lives and never question it. They never stop to ask, why am I doing this? Does this make me happy? Does this bring me closer to who I really am? They simply follow the script that was handed to them from birth. Study, work, consume, die. The system needs you to be constantly distracted because a conscious person is a threat. An awakened person questions. They don't accept ready-made narratives. They don't buy things to fill emotional voids. They don't trade their freedom for a false sense of security. And most importantly, they don't give their power away to institutions, governments, corporations, or any external authority. Distractions are everywhere, and they're incredibly sophisticated. Social media was designed to addict you, using the same psychological principles that casinos use in slot machines. Every like, every notification, every new post releases a dose of dopamine in your brain, keeping you stuck in that endless scroll cycle. You think you're relaxing, but you're being programmed. News outlets sell fear 24 hours a day. Tragedies, crimes, catastrophes, political crises, all formatted to keep you in a constant state of anxiety, because a fearful person is controllable. A fearful person accepts any solution that promises safety, even if it means giving up their freedom. Consumerism is another brilliant distraction tool. They convince you that you need the new car, the latest phone, the trendy clothes, the bigger house. You work like crazy to buy things you don't need, to impress people who don't even like you, while your soul dies a little more each day. And when you finally get that thing, the happiness lasts 2 days, and you're already eyeing the next one. Awakened people see this game and choose not to play. They see that the success society sells is a golden prison. They realize that happiness isn't about accumulating, it's about being. They recognize that the entire system is built on a fundamental lie, the idea that you are insufficient, incomplete, and need something external to become whole. Let me ask you a quick question, and I want you to answer in the comments. When was the last time you went an entire day without consuming any content? No phone, no TV, no music, nothing. Just you and your thoughts. Silence scares most people because in silence you meet yourself, and many have spent so long running from themselves that they no longer know who they are. The distractions serve exactly that purpose, to keep you so busy with external noise that you never have to face the internal emptiness. Awakened people also see how entertainment is used to shape perceptions and behaviors. Movies, series, music, all carry subliminal messages about how you should think, what you should value, how you should live. It's no coincidence that most stories sell the same values: material success, physical beauty, power, fame, all superficial, all external, nothing that touches the true human essence. And formal education? Another control mechanism. They teach you to memorize information, follow rules, not question authority. They prepare you to be an obedient employee, not a critical thinker. They tell you there's only one right way to live, one approved path, one accepted reality. Anything outside of that is madness, rebellion, a waste of time. But here's the truth they don't want you to discover. You don't need any of that. You don't need the job you hate to pay for things you don't need. You don't need social approval to validate your existence. You don't need to follow a script written by people who don't even know you. You are free. You always were. The prison exists only in your mind. When you awaken spiritually, the distraction theater completely loses its power over you. You see the strings, recognize the manipulation, and choose where to place your attention and energy. You stop reacting and start creating consciously. And that shift in perspective is absolutely revolutionary. The universe is speaking to you all the time. Not in words, but in symbols, synchronicities, patterns, and signs that appear repeatedly in your life. Most people completely ignore this communication because they were taught to trust only what is rational, logical, scientifically proven. But spiritually awakened people have learned a different language. They've developed the ability to decode the messages the universe constantly sends. Repeated numbers are one of the most common and powerful signs. You look at the clock and it's 11:11. You get a receipt and the total is 22.22. The license plate of the car in front of you has the number 333. Once might be a coincidence. Twice, still easy to ignore. But when the same number appears 5, 10, 20 times in a week, that's direct communication. Each number carries a specific energetic frequency and message. 111 speaks about new beginnings and manifestation. 222 about balance and trust in the process. 333 indicates that you are protected and guided. 444 confirms that you are on the right path. 555 announces important changes ahead. Awakened people not only notice these numbers, they stop, reflect, and adjust their actions according to the message received. But it goes far beyond numbers. The universe uses everything around you as a communication tool. You're thinking about someone you haven't seen in years, and that person calls you the same day. You have an important question and turn on the radio, and the first song that plays has exactly the answer you needed to hear. You're considering a difficult decision, and a stranger on the street says something that sounds like direct advice about your situation. Synchronicity is the universe's favorite language. Carl Jung defined synchronicity as meaningful coincidences that have no causal connection but carry deep meaning. When you're aligned with your spiritual path, synchronicities multiply in astonishing ways. Doors open at the exact right moment. The right people show up at the right time. Opportunities arise from unexpected places. Animals are also powerful messengers. Ancient cultures always knew this, but our modern society has forgotten. If you start seeing a specific animal repeatedly, it's not by chance. Butterflies speak of transformation, crows of mystery and magic, dragonflies of change and adaptability. Each animal carries a spiritual medicine, a teaching, a specific message for that moment in your life. Dreams are another direct communication channel. Most people wake up, vaguely remember dreaming something strange, and completely forget it within 10 minutes. Awakened people keep a dream journal because they know that's the language of the subconscious and the spiritual world. Recurring dreams, vivid dreams, dreams that leave you with the feeling that they mean something important, all carry messages your higher self is trying to communicate. Physical sensations are also signs. Sudden chills with no apparent reason usually indicate spiritual presence or confirmation of an important truth. That knot in your stomach when you're about to make a bad decision, it's your body warning you. That surge of energy and excitement when you think of something specific, It's the universe confirming that you're headed in the right direction. Breaks and losses are also messages. When things repeatedly break, when you lose important objects, when technology fails inexplicably, the universe is trying to get your attention. It usually means you're forcing something that shouldn't be, or that you need to slow down and reassess your path. Awakened people have learned to talk back to the universe. They ask questions and stay alert for answers. They ask for specific signs and trust that they will receive them. They've developed a two-way relationship with the cosmic intelligence that orchestrates all things. It's not a one-way street where you only receive. You actively participate in the conversation. Here's the secret that changes everything. The more you pay attention to the signs, the more signs you receive. It's as if the universe is testing your level of awareness. If you ignore the subtle messages, they stop coming. But if you honor every synchronicity, thank every repeated number, reflect on every meaningful coincidence, the flow of communication intensifies exponentially. You begin to live in a state of constant dialogue with the cosmos. Nothing is random, everything has meaning. Every encounter, every obstacle, every opportunity is part of a divine choreography perfectly synchronized with your spiritual evolution. And when you finally understand this, when you truly see that the universe is on your side, guiding, supporting, communicating endlessly, fear disappears. You walk with the certainty that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. There is a fundamental truth that spiritually awakened people can see, and that truth completely rewrites how you understand reality. Everything is connected. Not metaphorically, not philosophically. Literally, physically, energetically, everything that exists is interwoven in an infinite web of relationships. Modern science is finally beginning to confirm what mystics and ancient sages have always known. Quantum physics has shown that subatomic particles separated by vast distances remain connected, influencing each other instantly. This phenomenon, called quantum entanglement, proves that separation is an illusion. At the most fundamental level of reality, everything is one. But you don't need a physics lab to realize this. Awakened people feel this interconnectedness in every moment of life. They know their thoughts affect not only their reality, but the collective reality. They understand that every action, no matter how small, creates ripples that spread through the cosmic web in ways that are impossible to fully predict. Think of it like this. You're in a bad mood. You get to work and treat a colleague poorly. That colleague goes home irritated and argues with their spouse. The spouse unloads their frustration on the kids. One of the kids goes to school the next day and bullies a classmate. That classmate holds on to the hurt, and years later, it influences important decisions in their life. Your initial bad mood created a wave that affected dozens of people and future generations. That's interconnection in action. The opposite is also true. A genuine smile to a stranger can change that person's entire day. They might then do something kind for someone else, who does something kind for another, and you've created a wave of positivity that expands infinitely. You'll never fully know the reach of your actions, but awakened people live with the awareness that everything matters. Every thought, every word, every gesture sends vibrations through the universal web. Nature demonstrates this interconnection beautifully. When you cut down a tree in a forest, you're not just removing a tree, you're affecting the entire ecosystem. The birds that nested there, the insects that lived in the bark, the fungi connected to the roots, the other plants that shared nutrients through the underground mycorrhizal network. Everything is so intricately connected that any change in one part reverberates through the whole system. Your body is another perfect example. You're not a collection of separate parts working independently. Your gut affects your brain. Your heart influences your thoughts. Your emotions alter your blood chemistry. Everything is constantly communicating, exchanging information, maintaining balance. You are a microscopic universe, where billions of cells cooperate in harmony to create the experience you call me. Awakened people expand this perception beyond the physical body. They feel the connection with other people, with animals, with plants, with the earth, with the cosmos. They know the line that seems to separate you from the rest of the world is artificial. Where do you end and the universe begin? You breathe air produced by trees on the other side of the planet. You're made of atoms that were forged inside stars billions of years ago. You carry DNA that connects you to every human being who has ever lived. Separation is impossible. When you truly understand this, not intellectually, but experientially, everything changes. You can no longer mistreat another person because you understand you're mistreating yourself. You can no longer destroy nature because you feel like you're destroying your own body. You develop automatic compassion for all beings because you recognize that they are you in another form. This perception also frees you from loneliness. How can you be alone when you're connected to everything that exists? Even in an empty room, you are energetically intertwined with billions of people, with the planet, with the entire cosmos. You are part of something so vast, so magnificent, so incomprehensibly large that the human mind can barely process it. Interconnection also explains why certain people come into your life at specific times. It's not by chance. You were magnetically drawn to each other because you have something to learn together, something to heal together, something to create together. Every relationship is a mirror, showing parts of you that need to be seen. Every conflict is an opportunity for growth. Every person who crosses your path is a teacher in disguise. And there's more. This web of connection transcends time and space. You are connected not only with what exists now, but with your ancestors, with future generations, with parallel versions of yourself in other realities. The web is multidimensional, spanning past, present, and future simultaneously. When you live with this awareness, every moment becomes sacred. You realize there are no insignificant actions. Everything is ceremony. Preparing a meal, washing the dishes, walking down the street, all are opportunities to honor this sacred connection with the whole. You move through the world with more care, more presence, more reverence. Awakened people don't feel separate from the universe. They feel like the universe experiencing itself through a specific human perspective. And this shift in perception completely transforms the meaning of existence. You're not wandering alone in an indifferent cosmos. You are a conscious expression of the creative intelligence that permeates all things. You are the way the universe knows itself. Have you noticed that certain situations just keep happening in your life? Always the same kind of toxic relationship, always the same financial problem, always the same betrayal, the same disappointment, the same obstacle appearing in different forms but with the same essence. Most people blame bad luck, fate, or others, but spiritually awakened people see what's really happening. Karmic patterns asking to be recognized and broken. Karma is not punishment. It's not a cosmic revenge system where you pay for past mistakes. Karma is a law of spiritual cause and effect, a learning mechanism that ensures you keep encountering the same lessons until you finally learn them. It's the universe being an incredibly patient teacher, presenting the same material in different forms until you understand. Think with me. You leave an abusive relationship and swear you'll never go through that again. 6 months later, you're in another relationship with someone completely different, but the same patterns start to show up. Excessive jealousy, control, emotional manipulation. Different person, same dynamic. This isn't bad luck. It's a karmic pattern showing you that there's something inside you that needs to be healed. Awakened people recognize these cycles immediately. They've developed the ability to take a step back and observe their own life as if they were watching a movie. And in this movie, the same themes repeat in different episodes. The character changes, the setting changes, but the lesson is always the same. These patterns usually come from unhealed childhood wounds, unprocessed trauma, limiting beliefs that were installed in you before you even developed critical thinking. A child who grew up feeling they were never good enough will create an entire life of situations where they feel inadequate. An adult who was abandoned in childhood will magnetically attract relationships where abandonment repeats, not because the universe is cruel, but because the soul is desperately trying to heal that original wound. Karma also operates on larger scales, family patterns that repeat for generations. Your grandfather had alcohol problems, your father did, and now you struggle with addiction too. That's not genetics. That's family karma, unresolved energy passing from generation to generation until someone has the courage to face it and say, "This ends here, with me." But here's the secret that changes everything. You don't break karmic patterns by fighting them. You break them by bringing awareness to them. The simple act of recognizing the pattern, naming it, understanding where it comes from, this already begins the process of dissolution. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness doesn't fight the light. It simply disappears. Awakened people also understand that these patterns don't exist to punish, but to elevate. Each repeated cycle is an opportunity to choose differently, to react in a new way, to finally learn the lesson your soul came here to learn. And when you finally break an important pattern, the feeling is one of absolute freedom. It's like invisible chains that held you back your whole life simply dissolve. Now, if you want to accelerate this process of recognizing and breaking the patterns that are blocking your growth, I have to tell you about something that will revolutionize your journey. If you feel it's time to elevate your consciousness and start manifesting the reality you deeply desire, I invite you to join the Quantum Thinking Challenge. In 21 days, you'll reprogram your mind, raise your vibration, and unlock your full energetic potential. I've received inspiring messages from people experiencing extraordinary results. And you, do you want to be next? Access the link in the first pinned comment. Back to karmic patterns. There's another crucial aspect that awakened people understand. You're not just breaking patterns for yourself. When you heal a karmic pattern, you're healing your entire lineage. You're freeing your ancestors, your descendants, and even parallel versions of yourself in other dimensions. The healing moves backward and forward in time simultaneously. That's why individual spiritual work is so powerful. You're not just one person fixing your issues. You're a point of light within a familial, ancestral, and cosmic network, dissolving darkness that has existed for generations. Every pattern you break weakens that pattern in the collective field of humanity. And there's more. The more patterns you break, the faster the next ones dissolve. It's like cleaning up a computer's hard drive. At first it feels hard, but then you get into a rhythm, and the patterns begin to reveal themselves and dissolve with increasing speed. You develop what I call pattern vision, the ability to instantly recognize when you're entering a familiar cycle. Awakened people aren't afraid to face their patterns. They know that each recognized pattern is a step on the staircase of spiritual evolution. They understand that life isn't happening to them, it's happening for them. Every repeated challenge is an invitation to dive deeper, heal more fully, evolve more completely. We've reached the end of this journey, but in truth, this is only the beginning. Because everything I've shared so far isn't abstract information to be stored mentally. It's a call for you to wake up, to claim your power, to consciously participate in the most extraordinary moment in human history. We are living through an unprecedented collective awakening. People all around the world are waking up simultaneously, leaving the matrix of control, questioning narratives that have been accepted for generations, reconnecting with their spiritual nature. And this is no accident. It's cosmic orchestration. It's planned evolution. It's humanity taking its next quantum leap in consciousness. You feel it, don't you? That sense that something big is happening, that the old world is crumbling and something new is being born, that you can no longer live in unconsciousness, following the herd, accepting what you're told without question. That discomfort you feel isn't a problem. It's a sign that your soul is pushing you to awaken. Spiritually awakened people recognize that they were called to this exact moment. They weren't born in this era by chance. They chose to be here now because this is the moment when humanity decides its future. Either we continue down the path of destruction, materialism, and separation, or we consciously choose to evolve into a completely new paradigm of existence based on unity, love, and expanded consciousness. Each awakened person isn't just changing their own life, they are changing the morphogenetic field of all humanity. There's a concept called critical mass. When a sufficient percentage of the population reaches a certain level of consciousness, it triggers exponential change in the whole society. We don't need everyone to wake up. We just need a critical mass, estimated to be around 10% of the population. And we're getting there, faster than you think. Every person who questions the system, every individual who embraces spirituality, every soul who chooses love over fear is adding their energy to this critical mass. You are not insignificant. You are essential. Your individual awakening contributes directly to the collective awakening. Now, what do you do with everything you've learned? You have 3 choices. First, ignore it all, close this video, and go back to the comfortable sleep of unconsciousness. Second, believe it intellectually, but take no action. Let this information become just more theoretical knowledge without practical application. Third, integrate this wisdom, live by it, and become an active agent in the collective awakening. If you chose the third option, welcome. Welcome to the community of awakened souls who are consciously co-creating the new earth. Your work starts now. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances are perfect. Now, start where you are. Do your own healing. Break your own patterns. Raise your own frequency. Because the more you evolve individually, the more you contribute to the collective evolution. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real. You need to be committed to your own transformation. And always remember, you are not alone on this journey. You have spiritual guides guiding you. You have a tribe of awakened souls walking beside you. You have the entire universe conspiring in your favor. All you need to do is take one step at a time, trusting that the path reveals itself as you walk it. The time is now. The call is for you. Humanity is waiting for you to claim your power, to remember who you truly are, to live the truth your soul has always known. You are so much more than this physical body. You are infinite consciousness having a temporary human experience. And you chose to be here, at this moment, to take part in the greatest transformation this planet has ever witnessed. So I ask you, will you answer the call? Will you fully awaken? Will you become the highest version of yourself and contribute to the collective awakening of humanity? The choice has always been yours, and it always will be.